Welcome everybody to the Absolute Life Show. I'm glad you're tuned in with us today. I've got an exciting guest with me here in the studio. I just want to welcome Dr. Dan Miller. He's been in practice, private practice, for over 16 years. So Dan, I want to welcome you to the show today.
Thank you.
Before we get started here, I want to just go right after it and just ask you a series of questions to really help our viewers understand how to take charge of their health. First of all, how do you see healthcare today?
Healthcare today really, I think, is a travesty. Too many people are relying on the quick fix for health and healing. They don't look at the natural healing ability that God's placed in the bodies, and they really focus on the quick fix. They're always looking to their medicine cabinet, looking for something that can make the pain go away, but they really don't look at what health is.
And so when you say what health is, a lot of people will approach a doctor and they enter the healthcare system when they lose their health, but that's really not healthcare. What do you, in your mind, in your professional opinion, after practicing 16 years, what is health, and how can people take charge of it?
Health, most simply put, is all systems of the body function the way God intended. He's put all the tools, all the chemicals, all the drugs, all the hormones within our body under the direction and control of the brain and the nervous system. So health is that expression of that life and power through the body. Anything less than that really is a sickness, which we in our country then look at as a problem that requires a drug. But the reality is what required of our bodies is to remove that interference and allow the body to function to the best of its God-given ability.
So why do you think there are so many sicknesses and diseases out there today? I mean, everywhere I look, sickness is on the rise: heart disease, cancer, diabetes now, 1 million new cases a year. Why do you think there are so many sicknesses and diseases now compared to maybe 5 years or 10 or even 16 years ago when you started practice?
I think it's a misconception of the population. The lifestyle that we've chosen, it's always right now, high stress, high activity. They don't take the time to have quiet time, they don't take time to exercise properly, and they don't eat well. And so again, back to what we were talking about before, it's the quick fix. So I need to be able to do this, so I'm going to drink a bunch of caffeine. I need to make this pain go away, so I'm going to take that particular drug. And they don't look at how our body is designed, they just look at what they've been actually hearing on the TV and on the radio and reading the newspapers, which is a bunch of propaganda to help us change the way we function from the outside in. But our bodies are designed to work from the inside out.
Mm-hmm. And so one thing I just recently saw in the news that really kind of shocked me was that now manufacturers of cholesterol-lowering drugs are now going after children and saying, there's a huge market now for children because, and I was reading recently in some magazines that they've found heart disease in children as little or as young as 4 and 5 years of age, actually streaking in their arteries or plaquing developing. So it was quite alarming when I saw that they're going after 8-year-old kids for cholesterol-lowering drugs. Do you have any thoughts on that, and what are they?
Well, there's a lot, actually. What we're finding is that this generation may actually be outlived by their parents. And what's happening with the high levels of stress, the bodies are then producing high levels of cortisol. What ends up happening is it creates a lot of chronic diseases. Heart disease, diabetes, high cholesterol. And what's happening is that we're seeing these rise not in our elderly population where you would think it would be, but it's in our younger children. And so what the drug companies are finding is that, well, let's market to them because we're starting to see signs there, but what's ended up happening is it's just lowering the cholesterol. It's not doing anything to help them be healthy. It's just helping lower their cholesterol. So what's going to happen is they're going to die with low cholesterol at a younger age because they didn't take the time to see how the body's supposed to work.
So what makes your approach different to healthcare than most of the traditional doctors out there? What makes it so different?
Well, again, it goes back to the basic concept of what health is. Health is the body functioning to the best of its ability. So knowing that our body produces all that it's supposed to have, what we do as chiropractors is we help the body function at that level. And so we look to the spine primarily, but we look to the nervous system to say, are you controlling the body the way that you're supposed to? Are you affecting every single part of the body the way it's supposed to? And if not, why not? And if it isn't, let's identify that particular area, help restore the function to that part of the spine and nervous system so the body then can heal itself from the inside out, without drugs, without surgery, without medications, just using all the power that's already placed in the body.
So, and when you talk about that power, are you talking about God's power that was put inside the body? So what would you say would be the major premise, the major premise for what you do?
I guess the simplest answer is above, down, inside out. And to describe what that is that within the brain, again, is all the knowledge to control the body. And so as that life and power flows from above down to the spinal cord and from the inside of the spine out to all parts of the body, that's the premise that chiropractors work with. And we also recognize that that above actually goes beyond the brain, but actually from above through the bodies. And so by allowing the body to manifest and to be able to express and show that health is how the body is supposed to be designed and function.
So the other thing that you know, this is the approach you're talking about is so different to most people. It's kind of, you know, it's not really familiar to most people. Most people, what I've found, you know, being in practice for over 15 years is most people, you know, get their health information from maybe television or an ad or something. So what do you say to patients who come in and go, you know, well, they told me to do this, or they told me that I should, you know, that I should do this treatment? How do you help people that come in saying that, you know, they told me to do this?
The thing I remind all patients that come in our office, ultimately it's their body. They have to make the choice of what's going on, and so I encourage them to make informed choices. I mean, it's really easy to watch TV and ask your doctor this or ask your doctor that. And you know what I tell people is, yeah, ask your doctor, but also ask your doctor of chiropractic, because he or she has a level of understanding of the body in a different capacity. So anything that we can do to help the body function better from the inside out. And so what people can do is to get informed, look at what we're talking about in chiropractic, and help the body function from the inside out better. You know,
I was recently reading a newsletter one of our colleagues sent out, and it talked about how there was a clinic that recently suspended vaccinating children. And one of the things they'd said that had happened, this child that they'd vaccinated within a couple hours actually died. And they said there was no correlation, but the author had a couple issues with, you know, them saying that there was no correlation. One of the main things that he stressed, and whether, you know, it doesn't matter what side you're on vaccines, but the main thing that he stressed is we're under-informed about healthcare choices. And, you know, with the internet, with, you know, publications that are out there, with shows like we're doing here today, is we're out there educating the consumer and showing them, you know, you have a choice for your health. And, you know, you don't have to do mandated things unless it feels right to you for your health and your family's health. So what conditions do you see readily improve under your type of care, under maximized living type of care? What kind of conditions have you seen helped?
Well, it's interesting that you say it like that, because a lot of people think of chiropractic as a great form of treatment or therapy really for headaches or low back pain. And in one sense, chiropractic is really not a treatment for anything, and yet it affects everything. And so what we tend to find in our office is that, yeah, the headaches go away, or the migraines, or people sleep better, or the low back goes away. But we also see things like, you know, impotence or digestion things improve, or heartburn go away.
So let me stop you for a second. How does digestion improve or heartburn go away by what you do?
If the brain can't communicate to the stomach or the heart, as an example, because of nerve interference in the spine, it's a condition that we refer to in chiropractic as a subluxation. So most simply put, there's nerve interference between the brain and that organ. And so if we can identify that area in the spine that's having that problem, and through a corrective process called an adjustment, remove that pressure, then that nerve flow between the brain and the body then can function better, and that organ can function the way it was designed. And because the body is constantly building new cells, it can actually rebuild the organs in a more healthy way as well.
So and that power you're talking about, is that the power that God put in their body to heal them?
Totally.
And so you actually don't do the healing, you're relying on that power that was put inside them to control everything.
Right. I've heard it described as chiropractic. We're really just the janitors. We just clean up the mess in the body and let the power that God put in the body heal the body.
Wow. See, that's incredible. And there's so many people that don't know that they have the ability to heal from any sickness and disease. They just need to tap into